treated the injured and asked no questions. Many, mainly young girls, acted as couriers. Tough mountain guides took their parcels over the dangerous mountain routes, while at home their wives often provided a safe house for the next group to cross. Regardless of nationality, communication was not a major barrier. Helpers all played their part in ensuring that more than 3,500 British and colonial Allied servicemen and more than 3,400 Americans returned home from occupied Europe to Great Britain to fight again. Women played a key role in the work of the escape lines, as many men from mainland Europe had escaped to England to join their countrymen in the free forces of European nations. Others had taken to the hills to join resistance forces in the mountains and wooded areas. Many others had been deported to Germany under the German Thought organization to work in factories or in farming. So it fell to the women to not only run the safe houses, but also to take on the roles of couriers moving messages, supplies, and evaders, both locally and on the dangerous intercity routes. Wartime life on mainland Europe was particularly hard. To enhance their supplies, the enemy requisitioned or stole food, water, fuel, vehicles, and animals from their occupied territories and local populations. Factories making clothing and shoes ceased operations. Households practiced frugality and improvisation, so a helper giving food and clothing to a stranger who had suddenly appeared and did not speak the language would cause much hardship to a family who were rationing and hardly had sufficient food and supplies for their own needs. Most people today have not been personally touched by total war, but in Great Britain in the 1950s and 1960s, nearly every family had a World War II connection, and almost all had been affected by the war. Today, few people are aware of the courage, physical hardship, and endurance that the World War II generation experienced. How can we possibly imagine what it would be like to be in charge of a Lancaster bomber on a night operation over enemy territory, targeted by enemy night fighters and anti-aircraft guns, and illuminated by searchlights, at only 21 years of age, and commanding a crew possibly younger than that? Nor do we know what it would be like to storm ashore on a Normandy beach under withering enemy machine gun fire, an artillery barrage, and an air attack from enemy fighters, when only 18 years of age, or to be in a convoy to Murmansk in Arctic waters, pursued by enemy submarines. And what was it like to suddenly find yourself alone, possibly injured, in a foreign country, knowing that enemy forces were all around you? In all the Allied nations, young men and women barely out of school volunteered to fight for their freedom. Within the occupied territories, many young people came forward to fight with resistance forces, overtly carrying out sabotage attacks, while others covertly collected Allied escapers, evaders, and other fugitives. For the Allied serviceman, particularly aircrew, the knowledge that there were people on the ground in the occupied territories who could help them return home to England was the best morale booster they could receive as they embarked on their operations. Most countries are bounded by natural borders, such as mountains, rivers, or seas. These were the obstacles placed before the escapers and evaders. Some were more surmountable than others. Fast Royal Navy motor gunboats, MGBs, or motor torpedo boats, MTBs, from isolated beaches on the Brittany coast provided an extraction route across the English Channel. Small fishing boats from Denmark took their charges to Sweden. Norwegian fishing boats transported their evaders to the Shetland Isles and Newcastle. For many, their fates rested on the expertise and knowledge of the passeurs, the French, Spanish, Basque, and Catalonian mountain guides of the Pyrenean routes. Dutch routes initially ran to Switzerland before changing to the Pyrenees. There were the contadini of the Italian mountains and countryside, the Cretan and Greek guides, the Polish and Norwegian mountain guides, who often worked in sub-zero temperatures. The guides were prepared not only to risk their lives against the enemy, but also against harsh nature and the elements abounding in the mountains and in the seas to assist their brother combatants and achieve a common goal. Escapers and evaders from all branches of the services knew their options were bleak if captured in civilian.